In Mortal Shell, you start out as a husk of whatever you were before. In this form, you are vulnerable and can only perform basic skills. For more protection and enhanced combat abilities, you need to find special armor to inhabit, aka a shell. The game lets you find your first shell immediately after exiting the tutorial section. In the beta at least, this first shell looks like a very cool armoured knight. To learn about your shell, you have to go to Options, Shells. Upon inhabiting a shell for the first time, you won't know much about it. The description tab will tell you the spread of stats that it has, which is across the basic 3 attributes that all shells have, namely durability, stamina, and resolve. Durability is how much health the shell gives you. Stamina refers to how much energy you have to run, attack, and dodge. Resolve refers to how much energy you can store up for special powerful attacks, known as empowered attacks. With this first shell, you can see the spread of stats across all 3 core attributes are even, so this is a well-balanced shell, which makes sense for the first shell we get to inhabit. The 3 bars you see on the lower left of the screen there reflect these 3 stats. The top yellow segmented bar is Resolve, the red bar is Health, and the green bar is your Stamina. These 3 bars will change depending on the shell you inhabit. Some will have more health, some will have less stamina, and some will have more segments available to store Resolve, while others will have less. But that's all you're going to be able to determine about a shell when you first inhabit it. You can see that this shell is listed as Unknown Shell. Until we know what shell we actually have, there's no way to learn anything else about it. If you go to the Abilities tab, you'll see a wheel on the lower left of the screen. This wheel contains information about your shell, but upon first finding a shell, there'll be nothing there. The red center of it is where you find out the name of the shell, and the circles around that are unique skills that only this shell has. After finding out the name of the shell, you can then set about finding out what each of those skills are, one by one. Essentially, each shell is a set of armor with its own unique skill tree. To find out the name of a shell and to also have the chance to unlock its skill tree, you need to speak with a specific NPC named Sesta Genessa. To gain her assistance, you'll need to pay her. For that, there are 2 types of currencies you need to earn. One is called tar, the other is glimpses. Tar is Mortal Shell's main currency. Basically, if you have to pay for something, such as buy something from a merchant, you'll pay for it with tar. You get tar from killing enemies or by finding an item lying around the world called a remnant of tar. As far as we know so far though, you only need tar to learn the name of a shell and nothing else. Glimpses, on the other hand, are needed in addition to tar to unlock each unknown skill the shell has. Glimpses can be found in the world, but primarily drop from enemies that you kill. You can also find various differently named glimpses in the world, such as the Glimpse of Futility, as just one example. These are items that you can use, and when used, they can award one or multiple glimpses. To unlock the name of the first shell, you'll need 250 tar. It takes a lot less time to earn 250 tar than it does to progress through to where Sesta Genessa can first be found, so just go through the game as normal and you'll have all the tar you need when you finally get to her. Just always be sure that when you die, you go back to your place of death to collect your dropped tar, or you'll lose it if you die again before you collect it. I guess I should warn you, I'm about to show details of 2 of the shells, so if you don't want spoilers, this is the time to bail out. Okay, if you're still here, once you find Sesta Genessa, you can then learn the name of your shell, and with that, the skill tree becomes visible.
The brigands pointed us toward the temple. Shunned by the devout, their allegiances lie to those who offer tar or spirits. They entertain themselves with drunken antics or violent cruelties. They know better than to attack us. But they followed us at a distance, hoping for scraps.
All skills require a certain amount of tar and glimpses to unlock. The accretion of inheritance, for example, requires 700 tar and 8 glimpses. In the beta, there are 2 shells you can try. The second one is located right near Sesta Genessa, but in the final game, we'll have to search for them, no doubt. As soon as you inhabit that shell, any skills you unlocked from your previous shell will no longer be available to you. Any glimpses you earned with the previous shell stay tied to that shell too. So if you had glimpses before, you'll now have none until you earn or find them. So don't think you've lost them, they're just tied to your other shell. Basically, glimpses earned always stay with the shell that earned them. You don't lose tar though when you pick up a new shell, so you can immediately use the tar that you have to go and unlock the name of the shell. Before that though, you can check the description of the shell to see what its attributes are. Here we can see this one has low durability, extremely high stamina, and low resolve. On our game view, we can see that equates to just 2 segments of resolve. If we go back to Cesta Genessa, we can find out the name of the shell and see what potential skills we have.
They foretold a truth more terrifying than any other. Those who glimpse it behold no monster other than an utter lack of meaning. The visage of a razor-thin line between existence and non-existence, and nothing in between.
This is a beta only, so only a few are available, but just like with Harros, they are all unique to this shell. You'll have noticed that when we unlocked our shells, we got a unique item called an effigy. We got an effigy of Harros when we unlocked Harros, and an effigy of Teal when we unlocked Teal. You always get an effigy of the shell that you learn the name of right upon learning it. An effigy is an item that allows you to instantaneously switch to that shell if you're not already in it. It's a one-time use item, but you can find more of them in the wild, often in chests. I'm guessing you'll be able to buy them in the main game too, but I don't know for sure. Basically just use the effigy of the shell you want to change into whenever you want to change into it. You can also change between shells without using an effigy just by finding the shell you're not in and inhabiting it directly. Shells not in use will be lying somewhere near Cesta Genessa. Just go to where the shell you want is lying and inhabit it. This costs nothing and you can do it as often as you want. As you've probably already worked out, the skills of each shell are not customizable. Each shell has a static skill tree, but the skills within it are all pretty well synergized with each other. For example, Harros' skills give his shell a chance to get more glimpses, and another skill that gives him a chance to heal from the glimpses he gets. He also gets a cooldown on his Harden, and his Harden becomes better as well. So if you like having invulnerability more often and you like a better version of it, Harros might be your preferred choice. Or Harros might be a good choice if you want to farm glimpses. Teal has a skill that heals you when you're poisoned. This synergizes well with another of his skills that releases poison upon a successful parry. I love the synergy of this because I love to parry. When I play Teal, I'm constantly poisoning enemies because I'm constantly parrying, and that means I'm constantly healing. Parries also heal you on their own if you have a segment of resolve available when you do it, so with this playstyle, with a parry playstyle, Teal is great for keeping you fully healed practically constantly. Shells also essentially give you an extra life. If you lose all health while in a shell, you'll get knocked out of it. You can only take one hit as your real pasty self, but if you get back to where you died and inhabit your shell again, you'll be restored to full health. You can only do that once though, die again, and you'll have to be resurrected somewhere else. Also, it seems that different shells might have different innate abilities that aren't reflected in either their stats or their skill trees. I don't know the extent of this just yet, we'll have to wait for the final game to know for sure, but I have been able to test that while Teal has a faster dodge and more stamina, his shell actually runs slower than the Harros shell. It's only a slight difference, but if you speedrun through levels to get to bosses for example, it becomes quite noticeable. I'm guessing each shell is going to have hidden strengths and weaknesses like that, and I'm sure the Mortal Shell community will sort that out in due course. For now, we only know about Harros and Teal, and at least 2 other unknown shells that are in the menu. There may be more in the final game, but I don't know. Basically though, the range of skills and synergies for different playstyles and purposes remain to be discovered. Until we do, I'm Fuzzy Barbarian, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.